I welcome you all to the 106th AOE meet of 17th July 2021. AOE calendar this month reminds us since the beginning of the month of these two gentlemen, Baljit and Virendra. It's their birthdays this month. For sure, AOE will be sending them an eggless cake, but we would all like to wish them a wonderful birthday month and the year ahead. Happy birthday, Virendra. Happy birthday, Baljit. Also, our calendar says in the bottom there is no substitute for hard work by none other than Thomas Edison. We have an interesting session lined up today. Our very own James Bond, and he is going to talk about his passions. We also have introduced from this month a 5-minute wisdom session by AoEans. So today's will be by AoEan Naresh Vij, who will be talking about his experience with electric vehicles. And we have a guest speaker who is going to talk about software. And I believe he is the expert in software. So I look forward to hear. AOE was formed by a group of people who were meeting at various forums. They were from different backgrounds and different age groups. But one thing was that they liked each other and they liked learning from each other. So one day we sat down and decided to create a platform with the principal motive of learning and wisdom sharing, helping fellow members, creating opportunities to interact with fellow members has been something which AOE has been doing consistently. Entrepreneurship is a lonely journey is a fact we all know, and AOE understands this. We were registered as a non-profit society, meeting every month continuously since August 2012, usually on third Saturdays. Before Corona, we used to have physical meetings. We are yearning to have them back as soon as situation improve. And we also created a lot of opportunities to interact by way of our annual day socials and the other socials. The foundational work of AOE continuing for the first 7 or more years was done by our founder chairman and our past chairman, Mr. Naveen Sardana. The current managing team acknowledges their effort and is open to their advice all the time. Our members, excellent members we have. The entire list is available on our website, aoeindia.in. Another amazing effort done by AoEan Abhijit Roy, who has brought the website to this level. Now we have even wheels management videos available on our website. Hope everyone checks that. We are there on YouTube. Each of our meeting is recorded there. All you got to do is write Association of Entrepreneurs India, and our link will be there at the top, and you press the subscribe button, and then you'll be made aware of all new videos. We have a Facebook page which AOEan Praveen Prasangi has promised that he is going to upgrade soon. AOE's mentoring effort is something that we are proud of, that started this year. Thank you so much, the team of Veer Sagar, Sanjeev Narayan, and Mr. Rajiv Shankar Mathur. Now that the COVID-related gap has been over, and I believe we might hear some interesting announcement from them today. The rest of the agenda for today is, after introduction, we'll have a one-to-one session update. Our internal speaker and guest speaker, which we have, by 6, we will try to close this meeting. We also wish to introduce Mr. Abhishek Jain today, who was joining us. Unfortunately, he has just been through Corona, and today again he has fever. So he has taken leave, start introducing our members. Can I request Mr. Veer Sagar to please introduce himself?
Good afternoon, AOEans. Nice to be back here again and meet you people once a month. I'm only hoping and looking forward to getting physical meetings and socials. I think it's been too far and too long. I have about 57 years of experience working at different places, and currently I'm tied up with a thing called Criconet, where we have introduced e-coaching, where a coach and a trainee get together on the same platform, on the same screen, and they learn. The coach actually teaches the trainee batting, bowling, fielding, whatever. And then we also do live telecast of cricket matches for club matches, tournaments, etc., where we take our kit and we telecast the matches. And for those who follow cricket, we also do limited amount of DRS and ball tracking on this. So in addition to this, I have a self-running back office which runs by itself.
Can I request Mr. Naveen, please?
Thank you, Shishir. Good evening, friends. My name is Naveen Sardana, former chairperson of AOE. My business is, I have a company by the name of Living Luxuries. My business comprises of modular fitting furniture, where we supply high-end kitchens, wardrobes, vanities to all top strata of society. And we also have the world's best kitchen appliances available with us, fitted appliances, whether they are, I would say, built-in appliances actually. The way, I mean, whether they are Siemens, Gaggenhau, Falmec, La Germania, you name it, and we have it with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Naveen. Can I request Mr. Naresh?
Good evening, everyone. I'm founder of Kaveri Consultants, named after my daughter Kaveri. Our tagline is for women, by women, with love. And that's exactly what we try to practice in our boutique manufacturing unit. We involve women who live around the factory, and as a result of this strategy, my factory has been working since 4th of May last year without any stoppage, and could fulfill the requirements and orders which were placed continuously by our customers. I'm very passionate about teaching, and passionate about sports and tennis to love, and tell you more about it in my presentation today. Have a good evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Naresh. Mr. Baljit Singh Bedi, please.
Hi, I'm Baljit Singh Bedi, founder, member, and general secretary of AOE. I am a chartered accountant with 40 years in practice in a partnership with 2 other chartered accountants, and I'm working since 1980. And we are looking to add clients to our firm for audit, tax audit, income tax, bank loan syndication, FEMA, GST, agreements, financial planning, and advice in business planning. Thank you.
Thank you, Baljit. Can I request Mr. Abhineet Seth?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Abhineet Seth, and I represent 2 entities today. For first entity, Abode Crafts, where we are into turnkey home constructions, home and office interiors, and a kitchen remodeling, as well as a fixed furniture specialist company. We have our own workshop. Our second venture has come into life officially this year. Oasis Farms shall be all about organic products. Our first product line here is Twish, a liquid organic manure. It's 100% organically produced manure through a microbial process in liquid form, and it substitutes the khad in solid form, making it easy and ready to use product for your home garden. More products shall be added soon.
Thank you, Abhineet. Mr. Neeraj Bhargav, please.
Friends, my name is Neeraj Bhargav. I am into my family business of printing and packaging for the last 36 years. And our punchline is Hum Banate Dibbe. HBD is for Hum Banate Dibbe. So we make printed boxes for pharmaceutical and FMCG companies like Dabur, Hamdard, and all out people. Thank you.
Thank you, Neeraj. Mr. Atul Kumar, please. Atul Kumar Saxena ji.
Good evening. I am Atul Kumar. I have 2 caps. One is our business. We are into business of healthcare. My company Om Impacts, which is now going to be 30 years, and our targeted market is Vietnam. Number 2, presently I'm the president of Indian Imported Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We have a global footprint, and we help companies to globalize their operations. If they want to export, we help them. We also help companies in India for imports, and also a lot of troubleshooting. That's my 2 portfolios. Thank you.
Thank you, Atul. Can I request Mr. Abhijit, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Abhijit Roy from Apna Infotech, a boutique software company. We basically we build and operate software teams for our customers across the world, predominantly in US and now in Australia. Of late, we introduced a project called Project Impact, which is based on 6 attributes of a software commando that we would like to promote. And we have decided every month going forward to represent 1 letter of the word impact. The first letter I represents integrity. And this month, I would also like to thank Naresh ji who came over to our company virtually and presented a very nice talk. It's a series of talks across 3 weeks. He did the first one last Friday on talking about integrity to my entire team. So thank you very much, Naresh ji, for that.
Very nice. Mr. Sanjeev Narayan, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Sanjeev Narayan. I run an electronic manufacturing and services company by the name of SGS Techniques. We are based out of Gurgaon and have factories in Manesar, Bangalore, Baddi, in addition to the one in Gurgaon. We provide the design as well as the manufacturing facilities to OEMs in this electronic space. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sanjeev. I have been in the beautiful world of essential oil for 24 years now. Have traveled across the world and sold Indian essential oils across Far East, Southeast Asia, Western Europe, America. In the last 5 years, I've been selling essential oils in a B2C business in small bottles to customers through our website, mirakiessentials.com. My company's name is Miraki Essentials. My brand name is also Miraki Essentials. Apart from that, we sell through e-commerce, e-marketplaces, as well as through organic stores in metro cities. That's about me. Can we request our guest, Mr. Sumit, to introduce himself, please?
Good evening, everyone. I am Sumit Singh, guest of Mr. Atul Kumar. I am working as a marketing manager with Home Impacts Private Limited for last 5 years. We are in healthcare products, especially we target the Vietnam market for our products. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sumit. With this, we move on to our next session of one-to-one updates. Abhineet, can you take over, please?
As entrepreneurs, we all realize how critical one-to-one interactions are for the purpose of building trust. And at AOE, we firmly believe that trust should be built, relationships be nurtured, and business shall automatically follow.
I had a wonderful one-to-one session with Mr. Neeraj Bhargav. Right. I actually didn't realize that Zoom call can also be so interesting, because it was great conversing with him, connecting with him, and knowing more about him. We of course know that the kind of work he is doing for Hum Banate Dabbe, HBD packaging. But one thing is that whenever I have seen him, what I think of Neeraj Bhargav is he looks always happy, whether he is alone or with his wife. No, every time, all the time, he looks happy. And he's one of those rare combinations who has been caring to his parents. He is passionate about his work and also music. As I mean, these two things I know as of now, and the kind of freedom to choose he has given to his children.
Yeah, same. I enjoyed the one-to-one and came to know more about Shishir and his family. Just like me, I mean, I found a lot of similarities. He's also living with his parents and 2 kids also. I mean, the way he has raised. And I was surprised to find that the liberty which he has given to the kids also. One of the daughter is working in Ireland in an NGO sort of an organization, left the corporate culture, which was very interesting. And the other elder daughter is married to an Irani family in Mumbai. So great to know about Shishir and his family. Thank you.
Well, it's my pleasure yet again to introduce Mr. Naresh Vij, founder, member, and vice chairman AOE. Entrepreneur, boutique apparel manufacturing expert, professor and training consultant, and a world-level tennis player, just few of the feathers that adorn his cap. A rich experience spanning 4 decades across textile industry, a successful boutique apparel manufacturing unit, Kaveri Consultants, a management professor at Bharatiya Vidyapeeth, Bridge School of Management, Ansal University, Gurgaon. Kaveri Consultants is an apparel and textile unit run for women, by women, with love. More than 90% of their clients internationally utilize their USP of designers styling, high value, high quality, low volume orders. They are also Raymond authorized customized tailoring hub. Icing on the top, Naresh sir is an avid sports person. India ranked 25 in tennis seniors category and world number 1096. His corporate trainings, hence, are a wonderful amalgamation of his wide and rich experience. Mrs. Ritu Vij, herself being a sportsperson, the then captain of her college hockey team at Venki South Campus. She is a support system at Kaveri Consultants. Their daughter Kaveri runs an acclaimed wedding planning company, Designer Events Inc. Over to you, Naresh sir. We are keen to gather your pearls of wisdom today.
Thank you very much for this beautiful introduction. All right, my first thing is, please maintain a silence. Oh, I muted myself. Thank you very much. There is first learning, which my parent taught me, that to get anything, you have to act that. So namaskar is the way. I'm one person requesting all of you to do namaskar to me. I could be selfish, but that is the way. They were taught that if you want to gain anything in life, you have to do it first. So I'll start by a presentation on passionate. The word is passion. How I've been enjoying my life or whatever I'm doing, and there is a strong passion behind it, and how I have traveled so far. Let me just put up my presentation. Shishir, I can share this. Yeah, that's a very old picture of mine. I still want to look young, the way I was. So here I go. I was born on a Basant Panchami day, the day Queen Elizabeth was visiting New Delhi for the first time. I missed her because at that time I was being born. And perhaps my father, Mr. Ved Prakash, and my mother Raj, they named Naresh due to this particular event. My father tells me that story, that why your name was kept as Naresh. So I have some connection with kings and queens. So that is the first woman, the day I was born, she came into my life, Queen Elizabeth, right? So that's the story of my name, how it started, right? What I've learned in my life, I've just turned 60, become senior, and thinking that how I can, enjoy my life more in moderation and do everything more passionately, which I wanted to do that, right? My father was very passionate about sports, yoga, sports, good food, good health. That was the only mantra he practiced. And we had a badminton court at our house. And we would wait for 2 to 3 hours before we can get even 5 minutes or 10 minutes in the last to play. And it was fantastic. I've tried to do many things in life as far as my studies are going. Very passionate about becoming a doctor, could not become it. Very passionate of becoming a chartered accountant, did not write my finals, but then got a great experience of being a management and internal control consultant. Then I don't know how I dreamt of being an entrepreneur, although my father and my family, they come from services, jobs, how this bug caught me. And I always dreamt of becoming an entrepreneur. I've always wanted to have a factory where majority of them would be women. And this was before my college times around. Probably the credit goes to my mother. She was a damn good sewer. She would make me sit next to her and sew my clothes. At that time, I probably had more in my wardrobes than what I have today, thanks to her. And I learned cooking. Same way, my mother would make me sit next to her in the kitchen, and then she would cook. That smell and aroma made me practice that today. I mean, I can cook, I can criticize others that what is missing and what is not missing. So a lot of learning from the lives which has come in this way to me. Sherlock Holmes is a favorite, but after AOE, James Bond has become there too. So more of a Sherlock Holmes approach to life. Interesting, thinking about more logically, making deductions, right? And that made me more as an entrepreneur, management consultant, and that. So I like to divide my entrepreneurship journey into the multiple of 14 Vanvas. Means 14 years like Ram Vanvas. So this is my third Vanvas. Last two Vanvas, I could not complete 14 years, right? They fizzled out in the 11th year. And this is the first one, which I hope I'm going to complete 14 years, right? And I learned one thing that if you want to do and practice anything, any important things, please get cornered, leave everything, get cornered and you'll do that job very, very well. Any work which you have in your mind cannot be completed unless until you get cornered with yourself. Flexible. I'm a very flexible person with time. I sleep at 3 o'clock. I get up at 11 o'clock. But there are times when, need of hour is there. I can be flexible in doing that, right? My family has been a very, very big motivator. We've seen times when there was no work with me about 7 years back. For 9 months, I had no work. But my family kept on nagging onto me, stick to this. You say that you have to stay there to achieve good results and get the fruits. So stick there. And I did that. My people, my workers stayed with me. They said, please, sir, don't pay us, don't worry. But do not shut your shop. And we are sure, very sure that, and actually it has happened. And I am a live witness to such kind of happenings. An entrepreneurial journey, you understand, is all about ups and downs, which happens for external reasons, for internal decision making, but primarily more of for external reasons. And you should be, flexible and ready to adapt. This is one of the, COVID relief fund. My 4 women designer customers, they organize a fund and they sent it to us by giving 1 month salary of every staff and worker. I'm fortunate to have such kind of customers, primarily because of the kind of workforce I have. They have worked so hard and so diligently that not even a one wrong piece should go to them. And they have witnessed themselves by coming over here to my factory. These are small pictures when one of the buyer was visiting. So when 4, small owned businesses designer, and they talk about that, my factory is the most talented factory in their humble opinion, I think my journey makes a real sense to me. And I've learned, earned this name and fame. And this was circulated in the Vogue USA. And I think fantastic feeling for all of us that what our customers are doing for us. So which means that my people have done a great service and great job to them. My learning that trust your customers, trust your workers, trust your vendors has paid dividends. And this is one of a bug of teaching. I love teaching. I earned my pocket money when I was in first year of my CA by teaching students. There used to be Mr. Lal, Academy. I used to get attached. So it was always there. Then I said, okay, now I've learned enough being an entrepreneur. I want to teach higher management, students. So how do I do that? In 2010, I decided to do my MBA. I was simply a science graduate with chemistry and biology, zoology actually. I did my MBA from University of Wales. It was an online, very tough program. And the intent was to learn what is being practiced in management today and how I can combine it with my learnings and impart to the students of management schools. So the story is fantastic. Apollo Group of USA joined hands with Hindustan Times, and they came out with a program to teach, 6 months short-term programs and long-term programs and postgraduate programs for the working executives. So they came out with the, first page, bottom right corner ad, talking about the Polo Group is joining hands with the Hindustan Media of Hindustan Times to start this unique, and they named it as Bridge School of Management. And the advertisement was very, very simple. If you will not apply for this, then you don't know what you're missing. You will not believe. I said, I think they want PhDs, not a person like me who's just a simple, entrepreneur, science graduate, and now MBA in 2010. So I wrote to them, just taking fun and a pot on them, that I'm responding to your advertisement. And if you don't call me for the interview, you will not believe what you are missing. To all my shocks, you will not believe they called me. They asked me to do a presentation on business strategy, which I did, and I got selected. This process started on June 11th, 2011, and I started teaching in 2013. And June 11 happens to be Ritu's birthday, my wife's birthday. So such kind of, incidents which happened in the life. And since 2018, I've been teaching. Bridge School of Management has decided to shut shop in 2018. But because of that learning, I am with many colleges. I'm industry mentoring facility with latest is Pearl Academy, Fashion School, and FIB, and so on. And at Bridge School of Management, we got lucky. I never wore this kind of robe when my graduation ceremony happened. So it's one of the picture from that. And there were accolades. What I taught, and I taught with complete passion, because that's what I wanted to do. So I had the Teaching Excellence Award from Bridge School of Management. I did the Faculty Development Program for Bharati Vidyapeeth. And I'm started playing, I've been playing tennis since university. I was in a university team, but off and on then started playing professional tennis. And like Abhineet mentioned, I'm not there for rankings. They happen on. I like to enjoy. It's my passion, and it helps me in strategizing and helps me maintaining a very nice balance and very good mental attitude. So sports, which my parents taught me, is a very great, teacher. It makes you learn a lot. The failure of losing is not a very big thing, actually. You lose and lose, and you keep on playing, and one day comes when you are finding yourself on the pedestal, first on a third position, then on the second, and sometimes you're on the first. So keep on doing it. That is the learning which I had from there. These pictures are latest one. Just about, I would say 10 hours this morning. I went to Gurgaon, participated in this tournament. This is a mixed doubles pro, and the lady Sonal is my mixed doubles partner. Right. So as I told you, this is my third Vanvas, and I'll be completing 14 years on 13th September 2021. And I feel that Diwali is around the corner of this Vanvas of entrepreneurial journey. Thank you very much for listening to me. Yes, please.
What's your management style?
My management style is very participative, involving every rung of the hierarchy, but taking a decision and then explaining the decision why this has been taken.
Say there's a section head, and
yes,
right, and you discuss a way of doing things.
Yes,
and you can't convince him, and he wants to do, he or she, and I guess in your case mostly she wants to do it differently, right? Would you say, okay, fine, I've listened to you, but do it my way?
No. So what I do is I involve everybody in the hierarchy. So if there is a section in which case it is of a supervisor, then under supervisors, there are certain number of women who are working. So I would call all of them as a team. So it will not be that, unidirectional from me to the supervisor and supervisor to the girls there. So I'll have a meeting with all of them. And then I will pose my problem. I will seek solution, not by saying, say anybody. It is mandatory for everyone to say something. And then I will ask supervisor that what do you think what they're saying? Does it make sense or not? And once he does that, then I put across my, I would say, assembly of thoughts that what you have said is very fine, but can we do this way and improve? And while we are discussing, I found there are out-of-box solutions for that particular problem. And the moment we take a decision, everybody who's involved feels that they have taken a decision, right? Second thing is, being in manufacturing, in a day, I give only one work to everybody in the entire chain. And work in a target which is achievable. Every day they achieve it. They go back home very, very satisfied. They have a good night's sleep. No tension about that, what Mr. Vij will say, whether this was achieved or not. And I allow 5% as significant level of error or not meeting your goals. So this is a complete involvement in decision-making process is what I follow. It takes time. It takes listening from everyone. And most of them who are doing one kind of job have a rigid mindset. But the moment there is a collective, it's like keeping a child who is not having his breakfast and with other child who are having only cornflakes, he starts eating it. That is the way of management which I do.
Thank you, Naresh. Can I request Baljit to give our vote of thanks, please?
Congratulations, our own resident James Bond, who distinguishes himself playing tennis, dressing impeccably, educator, cook, for a wonderful speech. Day by day, you are looking more and more distinguished. Hollywood must find a James Bond who looks like you now. We enjoyed your presentation greatly, witnessing your mindset and your journey. Thank you for your presentation, which allowed us to know you better. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Baljit. Thank you for the kind words.
Thank you, Baljit. Thank you, Naresh.
Thank you.
Mr. Veer, can we request for a mentoring update, the status of mentoring, which is it right now?
We've restarted the mentoring, thanks to Rajiv. And we had a meeting with Vikas last week, which I think has gone well. And now we are somewhat reaching a stage where one more meeting and perhaps we'll wind up the first mentor program. The other mentor is traveling a lot. So we're not able to, between COVID and his traveling, we've not been able to do much. But Rajiv suggested, and both Sanjeev and I think it's a good idea, that we'll now open up for one more person. Because we think that in one more meeting, Vikas will exit and Sanjoy is not keeping us as busy as we thought he would. So we probably have bandwidth for taking one more. Rajiv, you want to add? Rajiv.
Yeah, I think, you covered it, Veer. But I think the thing that we need to look at is we went through a series of discussions. First, the discovery process, then looking at some of the challenges and the gaps that were in the whole business, and specifically referring to the one with Vikas, because that's where we are at a fairly mature stage now, where based on some very good inputs that have come from the various people on the mentoring team, as well as from Vikas's own efforts and his own creativity and his own leveraging his connections, etc., that he has actually been able to move through the challenging period of the pandemic and is actually looking forward to to a fairly growth kind of an environment, rather than somebody who shrinks and is looking at crisis management and all of that. So yeah, that is very, very encouraging, very positive. And as we go along, I think with this cooperative model and with all these inputs, and of course the whole entrepreneurs effort, we will see some very interesting results as we move further along. So that's where we are.
Thank you so much, Sanjeev. We'll pass on the message amongst members so that interested people can at least send in their application for being mentee. Thank you so much. And we move on to our next session of a 5-minute wisdom schedule of from AoEan. Today's session will be taken by Mr. Neeraj Bhargav. Neeraj, we have only 5 minutes. Our guest speaker is already there and we are a few minutes behind schedule, right? I look forward.
I'll try to be much short than even 5 minutes. So basically there was a question asked in this group about the electric cars. So I have an electric car, so I thought maybe I'll just share my experience with it. So going forward, the comparison which I have come to see after using the electric car is that the plus point is that it has a very good pickup. It beats any car. There is hardly any noise in the car. They have given the in-house fast charging system, so the charging is not a problem. Within 6 hours, I am able to get my car charged fully. Cost per kilometer is about 1.25 per kilometer. That is the only cost of the power which is being used for charging the car. It has a very low servicing cost because practically there is no engine, so nothing has to be, no belts and nothing else. So very low cost. I mean, I have run the car for 30,000 kilometers and I think I have paid only 3,000 rupees till now for some car alignment or something like that. And despite all this thing, I had an apprehension that maybe the air conditioning will not work well in the car. So it has a very decent air conditioning system. And I'm perfectly, I own a Hyundai Kona, which is based on a Creta chassis. So it's a sort of SUV car. Coming to the negative points, it has a low, yes, all the electric cars has low range of mileage. So this car of mine has a range of between 400 to 450 kilometers. But yes, this is a little high-end car. It costed me around 28 lakhs at that time. And low-end cars are ranging from 200 to 400 kilometers. So one has to take that choice. Still in India, there are less charging stations within the city also, as well as while you are traveling outside the city. So it is not a very conducive car for traveling multi-cities or intercities. So for that way, I would say that one should go for such an electric car as a second option. I mean, if you're having two cars, then you can have the second car as an electric car. So whenever you are going out, you can take your diesel or petrol car, and this car is very good for the city.
Thank you. Mr. Baljit, can you please introduce Mr. Jaismiha?
Mr. Jaismiha is going to speak on a very challenging subject, thoughts on software. Mr. Jaismiha, can I just ask you, is it Muthegere or how do you pronounce it?
Muthegere.
Muthegere. Mr. Jaismiha Muthegere has almost 30 years of engineering and leadership experience in building and delivering impactful, high quality and scalable market-driven software products. Most recently, he was CTO at the HR tech company Reflektive, leading the technology team. Prior to that, he was CTO at an ed tech company called Collective, later Visto, running engineering product UX in Asia Pacific. Before that, he was director of engineering at Yahoo, where he was responsible for engineering for a major emerging markets and India-facing products such as Yahoo Cricket. For the first part of his career, Jaismiha was in the Austin TX area and worked for many startups there. Jaismiha has a MS in computer science from Iowa State University and a BA in computer science from University of Mysore. In his spare time, Jaismiha is into photography and loves to read, watch movies, and travel, which we all do. Over to you, sir.
Sorry, Jaismiha, just before you start, Seshir, if it is okay, can I also add a word of introduction? Thanks a lot. So Jaismiha is a very close friend, and I would like to say a couple of things before he starts. He is one of a kind, and he's one of the few toppers in our college whom I get along, and you know my friends are typically not among the topper types. I have known him mostly as a personal friend, where he is very passionate and caring. But throughout his career, he has always taken up unique positions, which are unlike many of our other friends. He has I think he went off video, but so many of the companies that he joined, he and the leadership position took them to huge success. And he's the true example of a global citizen. He's lived in US, he's studied in US, and he's lived in India, and he keeps shuttling between the two countries as if it was like neighboring cities. With that's all I wanted to add. I'm really keen to hear what he has to say today. Thanks.
Thank you so much for such a warm welcome and the introduction. Honestly, it's a pleasure to be in the company of such illustrious people. I mean, I only caught the last few minutes of the previous session, but Abhijit was telling me about everybody's backgrounds and how accomplished every one of you is. So it's absolutely an honor for me to be here. I know I kept the topic for today's conversation was very fairly vague. I said thoughts on software. But my intention today is to sort of talk a little bit more about how software is sold, how software business models work. And then specifically, I want to then get into a very, a dear area for me, around digital advertising. I mean, I've spent a lot of time with digital advertising at Yahoo, at a company called Comely, and certainly at Collective. And I've really, realized that there is a lot of misconceptions about advertising, good and bad, right? And so I think it'd be good for us to talk about that as well. So let me quickly share my screen, if you just give me 1 minute. So my goal today is, really just to focus on, these topics, right? I'll do a quick introduction to sort of, piggyback on what Mr. Baljit Bedi, talked about. I'll talk about software, business models as, in general. But then, there's really 3 parts to it, right? The types of customers that determine how, software is sold, how you make the software available. That's also, how software is distributed, really, that also plays a role. And then, talk about, certain revenue models. If you'll give me just 1 second, I'm trying to figure out. And then we'll dig in. One of the revenue models is obviously, digital advertising. And so I'm going to dig into that in a little bit more detail. So professionally, this is my background. I went to University of Mysore, and as Abhijit said, and he and I have known each other for a very, very, very long time. If any one of you offline wants to get any information about Abhijit, good and certainly the bad, please reach out to me. I'm sure I can share some wonderful anecdotes. But we've been through a lot together, and I'm delighted to be here. And I did my master's in computer science at Iowa State. Worked with a bunch of companies. This word cloud is a bunch of technologies that I've used. This is, I'm reusing this slide, and I know, the audience here, not everybody's technical, so I'm skipping past that. With a company called Pervasive in Austin, Comely, Yahoo, Collective, and most recently, Reflektive. Then on the home front, I'm fairly sure that most of you have been to Mysore, but if you haven't, this is where I live. But if you've been to Mysore, you do know that this is the palace in Mysore, which turns out it's one of the largest palaces in India. We didn't know this. So we were in Jaipur, maybe 10 years ago or 15 years ago, and the tour guide is telling us about how amazing the palace in Jaipur is, and how this is the second largest palace in India, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we said, so wait, so what is the largest palace? Because we were curious. And he goes, well, it's a palace in South India called in Mysore, in a city called Mysore. And we didn't even know this, right? It's amazing to see what you have in your own backyard and you don't really get a chance to know or learn more. Of course, I've been to the palace on tours with friends, with families so many times. You know, the Dasara procession, of course, is very famous, but I didn't know these facts about the Mysore palace. So, you know, and then from Mysore, of course, you know, I spent a lot of time in Austin. And this is one of the bridges, you know, a famous bridge in Austin called the Pennybacker Bridge. And you know, I love to travel, and this was taken a very long time ago and many kgs ago in Switzerland. And as I said, you know, into photography. So, you know, this is one of the landscapes that I you know, clicked a while back. You know, the software business models, right? Look, I mean, for me, the whole idea here is, how do people make money? How do people make money selling software? And in some cases, they don't even sell the software. They just make it available for free. But if they do make it available for free, how are they compensated? Or maybe they are not compensated. So that's where, you know, where I want to talk about. I mean, I think I'll probably skip past a couple of areas. One, I don't want to really talk about those hobby projects. There are lots of people out there who are very passionate about software, who are very passionate about, you know, solving some problem. They may have run into it on their own desktop, or they may have run into it on their own tablet or phone, and they would have created some small thing, and then they just post it and then make it available for anybody to use, right? And that's really more for them. The satisfaction that comes out of seeing other people use it is their compensation, if you will. So really, you know, there are broadly two types of customers, right? So there is business customers, and then there are consumer customers. And generally, you know, the software model or the software that is developed for business to business customers are typically called B2B, meaning I, as a business, am selling something to another business to use as you know, for their use. And B2C, or business to consumer, is where I am developing software for consumers to use. So let's talk about that in a little bit more detail, right? So software built for and made available to consumers directly for their use. You know, those are, you know, things like, you know, Microsoft Office, Windows, and certainly Gmail. Now, you know, most of the time, the software is sold via retail channels, right? It could be, you know, you could go buy it at Chroma, or you could go buy it online on an Amazon, or you could buy, you know, buy it directly from the vendor or from the business. Now, in many of these cases, support expectations are lower, and unless you sign up for, you know, special support, or maybe, you know, they'll have support only for 3 to 6 months. And therefore their costs are lower because distribution costs are lower, support expectations are lower, and certainly from a business standpoint, they don't see a whole lot of long-term value from consumers, you know, unless it turns into a different type of sale, and we'll talk about that in a little while. Now, the business-to-business software, the B2B software, is typically built for and made available to employees of a business, right? So you may, you know, many of us are, you know, have been part of a business or have, you know, owned a business, and when we buy software, you know, from a reseller, you know, it could be something, you know, like SAP or Salesforce or even Windows, right? So, and the reason I put Windows here again as in both buckets is I want to highlight a little bit about, you know, how it's sold differently. Now, let's talk a little bit about how the software is made available to either a consumer or a business, right? Now, in the very old days, you know, everything would be, you know, effectively what is today called on premises, meaning the software is sold, the license is sold to you. They ship a CD, they ship a box, so you download an executable, or you download the installer, and then you install it on your laptop, or you install it on your server in the office, that's it. So all our business has to do is release the software, build, once they develop the software and test it, they just release it for people to use. And then people can either download it and buy it and download it, or if they're upgrading, they just download it. And there is really no responsibility of the business to maintain or manage that software, right? So if there's a security problem in the software, yes, they are responsible for it. But if there's a security problem with your laptop, or if there's a security problem with the server or in the data center where you're running it, that is not the responsibility of the vendor. And in many ways, it is on demand, because when I as a customer want a new version of the software, I have to go get it, and then I will go ahead and install it. Right now, lately, as you know, the world has almost completely moved towards cloud infrastructure, right, or cloud or running software in the cloud, where the software doesn't even run on your browser, so it doesn't run on your laptop, doesn't run on your servers, but instead you access software that has been deployed, managed, and maintained by the business, by the vendor out there in the cloud, right? And that could be something as simple as a website. And this diagram sort of refers to a lot of that, right? In the older, more typical case, you have perpetual licenses where a customer buys the license to use a software and they use it forever. Right now, as part of that, they may also end up, paying for support and get upgrades regularly, but it is theirs forever, right? And that's really the older standard perpetual license. So, in fact, that's the reason why you still today, even to this day, you could find people running Windows XP. The second type that you see, are usage based, and that is a little bit tied to subscription based. So now usage based is, where every time you use the piece of software. So let's say, let's say you're using a piece of software to back up your data. Subscription is a variant of this and the perpetual license, in that the subscription is typically time bound, right? And in some rare cases, it may be usage bound, but in most cases, it's time bound. You can say, hey, I'm going to pay for, it's sort of like using a landline or using a mobile phone, right? Every month, you end up paying money to use, to use Airtel or Jio or whatever, right? So let's talk a little bit about digital advertising. And the thing is, the fact of the matter is, digital advertising, while it seems simple, I'm actually going to skip ahead for a second because I want to show you something. This is how complex it is. These are the different vendors, software providers, platforms, services companies that are part of the digital advertising ecosystem. And it is ultra super complex. And I think part of the complexity comes because everybody's trying to grab a piece of the pie, and also there are certain problems in the ecosystem, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So let me quickly talk about what digital advertising is and how it ends up getting used. Any software that any advertising that takes place online, you could technically say is digital advertising, right? And that could be on your phone, it could be in a browser, it could be an electronic billboard, it could be a TV in the elevator, it could be while you're streaming Hotstar. Any of those things are really technically digital advertising because they're all happening in a digital medium. Now, there are several channels and platforms available for advertisers to place ads, and each one of them also includes tools to manage these campaigns, right? Now, invariably, an advertiser will not be able to use only one platform to accomplish their goals or to accomplish their targets. So they end up having to use multiple platforms in order to reach the potential user base for their product. Now, each one of these channels and platforms also supports different types of media, and I'll come to that in a minute, and placement options, right? In some cases, you may be able to see an ad on the top of the page. In some cases, you may be able to see an ad on the side of the page, or it may, when you're in the middle of watching something, there may be a 30-second break where you are actually shown an advertisement, right? Now, why do advertisers use advertising? At the end of the day, it's for the same exact reasons, right? One, whether it is happening on the back of a newspaper, back of a magazine, the front page of a newspaper, on TV, on radio, on a billboard outside your house. They are all trying to accomplish the same thing, even with digital advertising. They want to, increase brand awareness and bring more customers or potential customers to their business, get leads for sales, and or drive other actions, right? So, if, for example, they may say, hey, you know what, this is I'm Maruti. I'm just launching a new car. How do I make sure that we get test drives, right? The only way to make sure that we get sales is if we get people to do test drives. Well, how do I get people to come for a test drive? Well, I try to collect that information so then I can maybe call them, right? So those are the kinds of actions that I'm referring to. And then, of course, in rare cases, you will almost always be able to buy it directly as well, right? And certainly, BOAT uses that mechanism quite effectively. And then, as I said earlier, advertisements can be shown in any of those areas. Now, all of the places where advertisements are shown, those are collectively called publishers, right? That's where the audience goes. Now let's relate this back to the free software, right? Now, the free software that I made available to everybody is, in this case, the publisher where I'm showing ads. Correct? And so when I show ads, I effectively become a publisher, and I could be Yahoo.com. Yahoo.com was never charged people charged their users fees unless there was like special services, but they made all their money through advertisements, right? And so, or it could be a piece of software as well, right? So even if you play something like Solitaire on your phone, that probably shows you advertisements as well, right? And in that case, Solitaire is being made available for free, but they make money because they're showing ads. So in digital advertising, just like any other business, there is something that's being sold and there's something that's being purchased, right? Somebody is purchasing something and somebody is selling something, right? So the inventory, as it's referred to in digital advertising, is what is being sold, i.e., an opportunity to show an ad to a user, right? That's it. That's the only reason that's the only thing that's being sold. Now, if a user comes to a website and goes away, then the opportunity is lost. And so that opportunity is now worth zero, right? It's sort of like a plane that takes off with empty seats, right? An empty seat on a plane is worth exactly zero, right? Because it's already taken off. Now, the demand in the supply-demand equation, right, comes from advertisers who are trying to reach potential customers, right? And so advertisers are vying to show an ad to specific users so that they can convert them to or either to build brand awareness or to convert them as full-time customers. And the supply is really the opportunities to show ads to users. So on my previous slide, we talked about those publishers who are making who have advertising slots or placements available in their software. It could be a website, it could be an app, it could be anything. Those are the people, that's where the supply is coming from. So if I have a website with 10 pages and each page has 2 ads, that basically means that there's potentially 20 different placements. Now, if 1 million users come in to that website, that means 20 million opportunities are available to show an ad. Now, of course, that assumes that every user goes to every page. But typically what ends up happening is every user will go to multiple pages, but they may go to the same page multiple times as well, right? So you sort of get the benefit of that scale. Thank you so much. I enjoyed
Vice Chairman
enjoyed
Mr.
the
Naresh Vij to please put in a vote of thanks.
Thank you very much. The topic you touched, I think it is a black hole, right? There were so many things to get answered, especially for entrepreneurs like us. If we think that we know about it, we don't know about it. If we don't have trust even in the people who say they don't know about it. They know about it, right? So it's a huge, I would say, trust deficit industry right now, especially on online. And thank you for making us to think a little more about this and giving us a picture, a background picture, what exactly is the entire infrastructure of this advertising here.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so
Abhijit,
much.
thank you. And Shishir, thank you for coordinating and getting all of this set up.
Jaismiha, Praveen, I believe now you are going to take over social media of AOE, and I wanted to hear what is your vision, how we are going to do it.
So, well, I'll start where I
And
start.
and Praveen, since we are already 5-7 minutes after the meeting, if we can do it.
I'll keep it very, very short because then I'll sit with you, probably discuss with you later. So what I'm really doing here is, because we don't have any presence online, AOE has very limited presence. If I'm not wrong, we have a website now. What we really need to do is whatever we speak or what kind of knowledge base which we are creating, it has to be available to the general people. So what my idea is to kind of make them or curate them like an articles and put it on LinkedIn or Facebook, where people can kind of read about us and at least come in and join us like a guest. That way at least the word will spread. Also in articles in business kind of business articles or some kind of articles on specific issues, also something which I wanted to keep on, say, a Medium or a Quora, that I'll have to sit with different members and try to put everything there. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Praveen. I'm glad Abhijit is listening to all this so that he can also contribute. I have a treasurer report to share because the treasurer is a little unwell. He has sent the report. I'm just reading that. It says, good evening. The invoices for current financial year has been generated and emailed to everyone. I request all members who receive information on their membership dues to please clear them at the earliest. I thank Bhragav Jain for making their payment on time. In fact, Bhragav has paid for his pending due the last 3 years. We were not very sure that he is going to pay or he is going to continue, but he has paid for last 3 years. The membership payments can be paid through debit, credit cards and wallets also. I only have to thank everybody, but not many are here right now. Next meet is Saturday, 21st August 21. We will try to make it interesting. That's about it. Thank you so much.